Hello, this is John Miller, the creator of The Rest of Everest. I think I can safely say that this show is, without a doubt, the most in-depth look into the entire experience of what it takes to climb Everest, as well as some other peaks throughout the Himalayas. But all of the events in the series are shown in chronological order, so if you're new to the show, please go all the way back to episode 000 and watch everything in order. That's truly the best way to enjoy it. Thanks. Hi everyone, before we start this week's episode, I wanted to announce that the official DVD for our film, Everest the Other Side, is now available for sale. Amazing, right? I'm very proud of the DVD and it's beautiful. And it has a lot of bonus content. We're publishing the DVD ourselves, so we're opening the film up for pre-order so we can get an idea of just what the demand is, and so we can have enough copies manufactured. Interested? Just go to everesttheotherside.com to reserve your copy today. Thanks.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience.
Episode 118, Photos Just Don't Do It.
Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to The Rest of Everest. I'm John Miller. Have the same large group this week that we had last week, and I'm really happy to have everyone back. Since we've already introduced them all before, I'm just going to quickly say who's here. It's John Farah, Steve Wolf, and Andy Wolf. Tilo, Steve Beatty, I always have to say the last names when people have the same first names, John Coleman, it's not me, and Jeff. So how are all of you doing today?
Good, John.
Great, John.
Hello, John.
Doing well, John.
Doing well. Good to hear from you all.
And this isn't even the entire group. Just makes the Rest of Everest a little bit more interesting to produce when there's so many of you. I really enjoy it, and this week, we're going to continue on from the campsite that we got to and where you saw all the Sherpa introductions take place. Most of these places where we did camp, we camped out in a field behind like a tea house, and so that we always had a place inside. Well, almost, except for one night, we had an indoor place to eat, but we always slept outside. And we got in there, it started raining, we couldn't see any of the views when we got in, and so we woke up the next morning and we're blown away by how beautiful it is. So I'd say let's go ahead and show all of you how beautiful it was, and let's start this episode. So here we go. So this is the first morning on the trek. We, when we came into the camp, I have some footage of us crossing the bridge that you've probably just seen, but it started to rain, and so it actually been really foggy and cloudy at the very end there. And so when we arrived into camp here, we just really couldn't see what the view was like. And it's now the first morning, and we've just had the Sherpas just brought us tea in our tent, and I'm bunking with John here, so it's the John tent. And
Wow.
we just heard Jeff wake up. He's in the next tent over, and he said, "Wow, that's the view from my tent." So, of course, we had to look out the tent, and the view actually is...
It's amazing.
It's pretty amazing. So,
You don't get that anywhere from the Himalayas.
yeah, nowhere but the Himalayas.
I started taking a series of shots every morning with the first view out of the tent, and there are some of my personal favorite shots.
There's a personal shot of Jeff brushing his teeth.
I love the morning routines. The tea being brought to the tent and Cheery and Mingmar's smiling faces.
Coffee?
Yeah, they greeted us. They woke us up every morning personally and handed us hot drinks. It's always just
so
really
cool.
nice. So there's a nice Mani stone. Prayers written all over that boulder there. A lot of those on the trek. You'll see them all over the place. And we'll discuss the protocol when you come up to those in a later episode.
Those are our tents.
Yeah, that view was breathtaking that morning.
I loved it all. The sounds, the smells, the sights. It was great.
The two Steves.
Yeah. Why do I look so much shorter than you?
I had my heels on.
Bird.
guys mind if I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
So, what did you think when you got up this morning?
First thing I saw was that. And second thing I did, after looking at it, was run and get my camera.
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing, actually. It's beautiful with the sun.
All the other morning things had to wait.
Did you have any idea that that's what was outside?
No.
Well,
when we got in yesterday?
No. You know, we saw that from Lukla mountain. I wish I knew the name of it. We saw it from Lukla. We've walked far enough that the angle's already changed quite a bit. We were seeing well, I guess that'd be the south face, and now we're seeing more of the east.
Of course, we're about 1,000 feet lower.
So I knew it was out there, but I didn't know we'd be able to see it from here or not. There was another one too. You can see two from Lukla, and now I only see one. So it's amazing. Photos just don't do it.
No.
Which I knew they wouldn't, because I've been in places where, you know, I'm next to a 5,000 foot mountain, but from where I am to what I can see is 1,000 feet, and it's just amazing. And so, you know, we're going to see from where I am to 10,000 feet above you. That's got to be just something that I don't know how to describe.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. So,
absolutely.
I think we can get to see Everest today. If the weather's still decent, because I think you can see it from Nauche or someplace near Nauche.
I think tomorrow. I don't think today.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I know someplace near Nauche. Maybe you have to go up above a bit.
I think you can do an acclimatization day hike up to a viewpoint.
The trekkers we saw yesterday suggested that even on the days that aren't rest days where you've walked, to go ahead and go up another 500,000 feet that same day, and come back down and sleep.
And sleep lower.
And then tomorrow's the rest day, and obviously rest day doesn't mean rest, so we'll go up probably even higher than that and come back down.
Climb high, sleep low.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Namche, because I've seen lots of pictures, and it's sort of like a natural bowl in the mountain with the village in that bowl, and you can kind of hike up above it, look down on top of it, all these blue roofs and mountains in the background, and I'm really looking forward to getting there today.
I'm really impressed with a lot of the buildings here. I guess mostly the restaurants and tea houses. Just they're so well maintained, and I didn't see that in Kathmandu. So I think it's, you know, different people and different values or something. But you know, just looking over John's shoulder there, I see those buildings up on the hill, and they're really cool looking, and they look like they're very well maintained. It's a nice change from some of the things we saw in Kathmandu.
I think that was Tom Sorko we were looking at.
The mountain?
Yeah, I think that was Tom Sorko.
Yeah, I think we had that the first 2 days as a companion.
Yeah, that's probably still not enough.
Well, is it the original sack with the bag? So what you probably can do by external compression sack that has a strap.
I mean, for me right now, it's just the diarrhea.
The diarrhea is already started.
If you can deal with it, then just deal with it. Yeah, I'd rather wait a bit, unless I explode on the way. The only thing is if you're gonna, if you feel like you're gonna have a blowout on the trail, meaning you know that it's coming and it's coming very soon, then you might want to start. But unless that happens, you can probably just be fine. Are we gonna have any in between tea houses that might have toilets? We'll probably about the same as yesterday. We'll have lunch somewhere.
You can already tell what was important.
See how the conversations are starting to go hoop-wise? That was to be expected.
Yeah, I think we had at least one blowout on the trail that day, didn't we?
Yeah, I think Steve has personal knowledge of that.
We might not want to talk about that very much.
That's a later episode.
Steve Wolf is gearing up for an epic day today.
Absolutely.
I felt really good in the morning. Up until the bridge.
But, everyone laughs when I talk about all the poop stuff, but it's what you talk about. It's always on your mind.
It rules your life.
It does. Makes it interesting. There's one of those thermoses, and this was every time they heat up water and we give our water bottles out and they just start filling them up. We were always able to have plenty of water.
So this was our every morning procedure.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, the only time we actually had to use the chemical treatment for our water was right when we landed in Lukla. Thereafter, they had boiled water for us for the entire truck.
Yep.
So now that we're actually up on the trek, and today's very sunny, you have to strip down usually, otherwise it's far too warm, but it's extremely dangerous if you don't put on lots of sunblock. SPF 50 plus. He's got 50 plus, and I'm having 30 here, but I really layer it on. It would be, and kind of the you've got enough if you have a kind of a very pale look. I actually...
I don't think anybody got sunburned. Everybody seemed to be pretty good about the sunscreen.
And I forgot my neck. And that
That's right, yeah, you got sunburned.
It's better now. It's much better now. But that ended up being
the planes in the background.
a real
helicopter
issue for a few days because I couldn't even wear a backpack.
Yeah.
That would have been deadly on this trek.
But you also, you have to think about a few different things. Most people, when they use poles, they're usually ski poles, and they've got gloves on when they use them. And one of the things to really watch out for is if you're using trekking poles, the tops of your hands are usually exposed to the sun directly, and you don't want to have what happened to me going to Aconcagua in 2005, where I crashed the back of my hand.
Yow.
I've actually been trying to give people advice left and right here. Hopefully they've been okay with it. Because I'm kind of a talker, as you guys probably know. And,
really?
But
today he's
trying
quiet.
to save everyone all the grief that I've suffered from just being stupid.
Well, then, most people have to learn from their own mistakes, such as me.
Chris got suntan lotion all over my jacket.
Oh, was that me?
That was you.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was you.
That's it, man. You're
That's
out
it.
of here.
Sorry.
We're gonna send you back to Kathmandu.
Yeah. Unless you, as long as you give me Pemba to come with me, that's okay.
And you have to carry your stuff.
Yeah, you have to carry your own duffel bag.
This is so amazing. This guy, I can hardly carry my own duffel plus the backpack. So this guy was about this size. He carried, I think, 3 times his weight in duffels up the mountain.
And they just haul so fast.
Yeah, and they are gone. It's like, okay, follow the duffel. That's what I said yesterday. Follow the duffel. And a minute later, he was around the next corner and gone.
We'll have a lot of footage of different porters and the variety of materials that they carry. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable what they can carry.
They're so strong.
So here we are. We're crossing that bridge that we took to get into our campground, and now we're back on the trail. And we came across all these little kids going to school that morning. It was wonderful.
They're cute.
That's cute.
They all had their school uniforms on.
Always in uniform.
Oh, it's universal.
Yeah, I just love the people out here and the kids especially. I don't think anyone in the group can get enough of the kids. Every time a group of kids, they're obviously on their way to school, and they're in uniform. Every time some kids come by, everyone stops starts taking pictures. Pretty cool.
This is where we came across a voluntary toll to keep the trail in good condition. Yeah, you'll hear those helicopters in the background because they do helicopter tours to get views of Everest, and so we do hear helicopters once in a while, but I don't think I saw any planes. It's just.
No, you're right. It was the helicopters.
Yeah, because there was no plane landing strip over there anymore.
I was always worried when I heard a helicopter. I thought there might be, somebody being evacuated. I didn't realize they were doing tourist excursions.
Yeah, there's a helicopter pad up at Namche, I believe.
There were some of the resorts where the only way into them apparently was via helicopter.
There's also a landing pad up at Gorakshep, the last place that the majority of the group stayed up high. But it's a really flat area up there. It's pretty amazing.
You have to watch your step every place you climb because there's lots of yak dung on the trail.
Lots of yak dung.
Lots of rocks that want to twist your ankle too.
And these steps actually look pretty small. You get up higher and the steps get larger and larger, and I think they're built more for the yaks than for people because they're enormous steps, and big steps are a lot more tiring than small steps. So look at these loads.
Those are temp straps. What are those straps? Tomp straps across the head. That's Tom Serco.
Yeah, that was Tom Serco there. We went all the way around that.
I always gave those guys right of way. I always got out of the way for them.
Especially if they're going uphill. But look at this guy running.
Movie?
Movie?
There we go.
Got reported, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Welcome. They're so nice. I love these guys.
It's good weather.
He's running.
Great.
Well, they're going down there.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a lot easier running downhill than uphill. You guys all know how hard it is on your knees.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a ringtone. This is an expensive dispatch.
I got such a kick out of Chris with these dispatches.
They can hear me. Only 2 bars.
But I think it worked.
It did. Mm-hmm.
Oh, the pressure. Hello, Malcolm. This is Chris Marquardt calling in again from the Everest Trek 2009. We are at Benkar Guest House. This is the second day of trekking, the second day of hiking up here. It's hard to describe in words how wonderful this place is. We are hiking along a river, whose name I totally forgot because it's a Nepali name and I cannot remember these. So from a photographic point of view, we've been fighting light conditions, harsh lighting conditions. The sun is extreme up here. Most of us have kind of high altitude sunglasses on that really block out a lot of light. For a camera, that's the situation where you might want to use an ND filter or something just to cut down on the light. Basically, sunglasses for your camera. So we're going to continue to Namche Bazaar today. There's quite a bit of a climb. It's 9:43. We got up at 6 o'clock this morning, which is not much of an issue because we were already knocked out by roughly 9 o'clock last night, so we had enough sleep. And we're going to continue up to Namche Bazaar. Bit of a climb coming up after lunch, but, well, not a real climb, but quite steep thing.
Yes, it was a climb.
Up the hill, so we'll see how that's going to work out. And I'm going to try to call in as soon as I can again. This was Chris Marquardt. netvibes.com/Everest Trek. Check that one out. netvibes.com/Everest Trek. We can follow some of our progress live, updating map, and hopefully soon Twitter. Okay? Talk to you. Happy shooting.
I think it was a real climb.
Almost exactly 2 minutes. Am I good or what?
Yeah, we had no idea what we were about to get into.
No idea.
I don't remember much of it.
I felt
Nor do I.
the day up to Namche was harder than up to base camp for me. This was a tough day.
Yeah, physically definitely the hardest day for me.
It really is amazing how I think probably one of the most influential and sort of game-changing technologies worldwide are mobile phones. It really is amazing. In 2003, only people in the metropolitan areas had cell phones. In 2007, one thing I noticed was that even the yak herders, who were extremely rural, they had cell phones. Everyone had cell phones. They're all texting each other and calling. And we certainly are seeing that here too. And it makes sense, a lot of sense, because obviously the cost to phone companies to build the infrastructure for a wired telephony system is it's far too expensive. And with the wireless, you can cover areas at a much reduced cost. And but the other thing is, sometimes I wonder, it's like how much we pay for phone service, wireless phone service, and you have to think, a lot of people out here can afford to have their cell phones and they use them frequently, so they can't be charging hundreds of dollars. It's just they don't have that much money. That might be almost an entire year's income. So it's just something that I always think about whenever I see them. But I hope that it's changing things for the better. Sometimes, like up in Tibet, I remember wondering if it was almost a shame that maybe something was being lost, because you'd always see people walking from village to village to see, to talk to their friends or family. And now I think they just text each other, and certainly it makes things a lot easier. But are we missing out on something? Are we losing the interpersonal contact because of texting? I don't know. It's not really my place to judge. I just would love to find out what they think. I'm sure the cell phones are such a slick gadget, and they're one of probably the highest technology gadgets that people own, and it just worldwide they're everywhere. There are there's billions, isn't there, Chris? Billions of cell phones worldwide now?
I think so.
And it's just, think about that for a minute.
I mean, there are people who have more than one cell phone.
Yeah, people who have more than one, but
even in Kathmandu.
But I'll never forget seeing. You guys might remember some of the episodes, but you'll see extremely rural people with cell phones. Completely traditional Tibetan wardrobe, and they're just they're texting.
Honestly, I think it comes down to communication, and that's a deeply human thing. So
the desire.
I don't think that is actually changing anything to the worse. I believe that
I sure hope that.
And communication is the root of all good.
Absolutely.
And miscommunication has caused so many wars in the past. So I'm quite positive about these things.
But the only concern that I really have is just not seeing people in person anymore. Only calling them, or most of the time only calling them, and I just think that sometimes you're missing out on something.
That was one of the big
texting.
criticisms when the telephone came along. And this has become true.
You're right. And These are the things. These are just the ideas that I have and I put out, and I will always admit that I don't necessarily have the right opinion. I mean, it's just an opinion. I don't have the right judgment, or it's
just look at this.
Simply an opinion.
Look at the Everest trek. Wouldn't that have been possible without the internet?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
No way.
But
we have met without the internet?
No.
No.
But we're face to face here.
Yes.
And that's the difference. We're not just in email, and we're not just chatting over Skype or making Skype calls.
Right.
You're standing. See, I can take this, and
I'm here.
You know, he's right here. He's right there. So I mean, that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
So. You know, it makes such a difference to actually see all these people that have watched us. They've listened to you, they've watched you, they've listened to me, they've watched me, and they feel like they know us. But you know, even though we are who we are on our podcast, they still don't really know us. After this trip,
a few people will really know.
Well, no, they'll probably know more than they wanted to know.
Yes.
So that's just, you know, I think this is better than email.
Oh, totally.
So
totally, but the email is a vehicle to get there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so podcasting, communication, just sending a quick dispatch off to the world. I love it.
It's beautiful here too. It's just amazing.
Since Chris isn't here, I won that argument. Just for the record.
You're right, though. It's different being in person than seeing the podcast. It was really great to get to know both of you.
It was just amazing. It was just really cool. And what's really interesting is that you guys could mention things that happened in our lives that obviously you weren't there for because we've related them in the shows. And so, yeah, you really did know a lot about us. It's pretty cool. Now we're getting up into the wind.
This day we went across this river about 6 times until that final bridge across to the big climb. And
I was always amazed at how windy it was across these crossings. Then the prayer flags draping off the bridges were just such a good indicator of how strong the wind was blowing.
But listen here, as soon as we get to the trees on the other side, gone. Wind is gone.
And there's Tandy.
Yep, the orange pack in the distance there. And Monica. Monica is usually right behind him.
And I was always in the back with the song.
A lot of up and down in the morning until it was all up in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Oh, there's our duffels, Steve. Those are our bags.
Yeah. I recognize them.
Yeah, it's fun. You know, they start later in the morning because they have to strike camp while we start hiking, and then they lap us. They totally.
Oh, I always got such a kick out of that.
So that's the entrance, and as you can see, it's as old as I am.
Monica, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I just love it.
You've been staying at the front of the pack?
It's just the easiest way to walk in a steady way. And we are not very fast, but just we don't pause a lot. So.
Have you been having enough opportunity to shoot some photos?
Yeah, every now and then I shoot some, but it's very difficult. The light conditions are quite harsh, so I try to shoot some photos, but I'm not sure if that will be keepers or not.
Yeah, hopefully we can have some review tonight.
Yeah, and I think the rests we do, they also give some opportunities to take photos. I'm also planning to do lots of photographs on our rest day in Namche Bazaar, so I will try to keep up with my work.
How are you feeling about the terrain and the views?
The views are breathtaking. I've never seen that before. I was to the Swiss Alps in a few holidays and to other parts of Europe where mountains are, but I have never seen mountains in that scale. It's just not believable if you are not here and have the chance to see that. I want to fall down on my knees and and pray that I'm able to see that right now.
I'm just curious, is there anything that we've come across or passed by that surprised you? That you maybe had never thought about any of this when you were dreaming about coming?
What I think is quite nice, if you come across something like prayer flags and prayer mills, you have always to pass them on the left-hand side, because you have to surround them clockwise. And that's our Sherpa is very strict about that. He always walks on the left-hand side, even if it's the longer way to pass them. It was quite nice, and I'm just surprised how much the people over here can carry. I think they carry about their own weight up hills, and that's just unbelievable.
This model was absolutely amazing. That just gave you a picture of the whole trek, and just amazing.
It's also pretty amazing to see, like you'll see some mountains there, and then like you'll see a close-up of Pamori in a bit, and Pamori looks really big, and then I pan over to the right, and you see Everest. You'll see the difference in size is just huge. And we'll see Ama Dablam for a few episodes, probably in another couple weeks. Ama Dablam is such a landmark there.
Looks like a duck.
It really is amazing. So so there's Pamori right there, that conical mountain. And Pamori's huge, but then we go, it's nothing. There's Noopsie.
Oh.
And then you see it's just,
oh my God.
And you really can't see, you can't really see that difference in height when you're right up there, because the mountains block your view. And it's a neat perspective to get on that model.
Oscar!
Doofus.
Oscar's not a doofus.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oscar the Wonder Dog. Pay no attention to that. I'm choking him by his collar.
What's the significance of this again?
Oscar, he just goes with me. He gets his pictures taken places.
All over the world, right?
Well, not so much for me, no. I stay home while he goes all over the world.
Right.
So he's been to the West Coast, Oregon, Washington. Where else has he been? I think he went to Hawaii, but I don't remember for sure.
How old is he?
He is, I'd say around 10. And he's a replacement for the original pig that I had, was about that big. And he's also prototype for our current dog, Emma. The wiener dog, yes.
Emma's a lot better than Oscar. She knows how to kiss your face.
But Oscar doesn't make messes, usually.
Oscar knows how to get in your face.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, something like that.
Yeah, I miss Emma. Oscar's not a replacement.
Oh, he's a prototype.
And as you've explained, on the scale of affection, it's Emma 1, Steve 2.
Well...
Look, she's all going to be worried about saying it on
she's
tape.
All backtracking.
When I'm not filming.
Let's put it this way. Emma touches my heart in a way no human being can.
She's hemming and hawing because
it's a very nice cop out.
I might not be number 2. I like to think that I am.
You're on the list, but
priority-wise, of course, Steve's up there as number 1. You just don't feel like it most of the time.
Yeah, okay.
Emma's up there high, but we do have our kids to consider.
Oh yeah, your kids.
Yeah. I think I proved my worth later in this day.
Yeah. I was just giving you a hard time by leaving that in there. I thought it was funny.
I think that's great.
You knew I was recording.
Is this the last time we saw Steve smiling?
No.
This day?
Steve's still feeling good here, but next week we won't. I don't think we see much of Steve next week. But yeah, he was on the verge of death. I do believe.
That's a good thing, I think.
It was character building. It was definitely a character building experience. So
this is a good example of karma. You know, here's Steve saying that I care for Emma more than him, and he wasn't feeling well at all going up Namche Hill. and this is where, for better or for worse, comes into play.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, you stepped up.
Without Andy and Sunam and Pasang, I would have had a much worse day than I actually did.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, like we said maybe last episode, that the hike up to Namche was one of the most difficult for all of us. It was even more difficult than some of the higher stuff because we weren't acclimated at all. But you'll see some of that hike next week. We won't quite make it into Namche Bazaar this next episode, but the following one we absolutely will, and we'll see a lot from Namche. I know a lot of you are interested to see what Namche looks like. And lots of people have heard about it, seen pictures in magazines, and it's a striking place, and we spent 2 nights there, so we've got a lot of footage from there. So thanks a lot, guys, and yeah, we'll hopefully have all of you back next week. So bye.
It's been fun.
Bye, John.
Thanks, John.
Bye, John.
The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every day, and watching the show has become a part of many people's weekly routine. The show will always be free to download, but it's by no means free to produce. Please help me cover my costs by making a small monthly or one-time donation from the right sidebar on my website, and in return I'll give you some cool bonus materials. A donation of any amount will grant you access to some interesting video content, including high-definition versions of several podcast episodes, a one-time donation of $25 or more, or any of the monthly donation options will additionally grant you access to a downloadable version of the film Everest the Other Side, which episodes 1 to 61 are based on. I really cannot express how vital these donations are, and if you've made a donation, thank you so much. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywoo.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.